This is Wycombe Sound.
Hello everyone, my name is Dane Cobain. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM at Wycombe Sound. We're a weekly show every Tuesday at 7 PM where we talk about the local art scene, we shout out creators, share any local arts news, especially when we're not in lockdown. We also have a different guest on each week and we share a bunch of local music, a music review from Twangling Jack Ford over in the Ilk Shed, and a regular episode of the Ryelight Zone as well, where we have stories, poetry, that kind of cool creative stuff. As usual, you can find The Art Show on Facebook if you search for The Art Show on Wycombe Sound, and you can also email me here at the studio on dane.cobain@wycombesound.org.uk. And I particularly want to hear from creators, makers, poets, musicians, performers, actresses, dancers, you name it. Anything creative and cool and local, let me know. I'll give you a shout out on the show, and I'm always looking for guests and MP3s to share here as well. So before we get to this week's episode of the Ryelight Zone, which I'm super excited about, by the way, I just want to share a little bit of news from Ant Lightfoot. So Ant, I don't know if he still lives in Wycombe, but he's certainly from Wycombe, and he's currently got a one-man show coming up. So he posted to say, "I'm in the process of reimagining Am I a Terrible Person? My solo show about OCD and depression for online video. Here is the pre-sale for my short film / pilot as part of Living Record Festival. Tickets for the film are £8 each. Your support would mean everything to me." And that's at live-stream.za.am/events/am-a-terrible-person/feed. That's a long URL, but give it a Google, Ant Lightfoot. And so, with all that in mind, we're going to head over to the Ryelight Zone, and this week we have a local author sharing one of her stories. So this is Ruth Perkins, and she has sent a short story. She's actually sent it in 2 parts, so we're going to have part 1 this week and part 1 next week. Over to Ruth for the reading.
Just Jean by Ruth Perkins. The phone rang. A not annoying but insistent in its repetition, golden sound. After 5 or 6 rings, anyone listening began to feel as though the high gurgling ring would go on forever. Sometimes the person on the receiving end would pick up the receiver, only to lay it down flat on the small wooden telephone table that was placed here for just such a purpose. But they had strict instructions never to speak, or indeed make any sound into the mouthpiece. They were advised for their own peace of mind more than anything else, not to listen either. Anyone doing so would hear the voice of Jean. "Oh, it'll be Jean. Just Jean," was all the answer anyone came to expect. Later there would be the answering machine, but for now there was just the golden, repeated ringing tone. In an office, somewhere on the 10th floor, people danced the conga as the bongs from Big Ben, heard over a cheap radio, ring out. It is New Year's Day 1965, and Jean is 20. She is cradling the receiver of a dull grey phone. She knows she should not be making private calls from this phone, but everyone does it. Jean makes the call to this number every year at this time. She calls the number at other times too, but the New Year call has become a bit of a tradition. "Hello? Happy New Year!" There is no answer. Jean has come to expect this. Sometimes the phone is not picked up at all, and Jean has to go away feeling confused, frustrated, and terribly, achingly sad. It's better when the phone is picked up at the other end, even if he never speaks. Jean knows he can listen. "It's me again. I just wanted to call and let you know I'm doing all right. I got promoted to supplies manager in November. It's still a job, but more money." Jean laughs nervously. "I know Mum misses you. She doesn't say anything to me, but sometimes she looks like she's going to cry, you know, when she does your photo on the mantelpiece." Jean pauses, thinking hard about what to say next. "Judy's doing all right at uni. She found it very hard at first, but Mum says she's settled down nicely now." Jean takes a sharp intake of breath. "I wondered whether we might be able to meet up sometime in the new year. You don't have to answer right away. You could just think about it. I know you never reply, but I thought we could get together if you were passing through. Or I could come to see you. I don't mind. Jean waits for a reply that never comes. She has stopped wondering why long ago. Now she just hopes for an answer she never expects to get. Well, never mind. Just think about it, okay? I hope you're well. I love you, Dad. The phone rang. A not annoying but insistent in its repetition, golden sound. Mr. Bird glanced back through the door to the kitchen and the hall with the stairs leading up to the sitting room and bedrooms. He listened for a moment, thinking. Then he looked back across the counter at Mrs. Spriggs. A granary loaf and 12 tea cakes, every Wednesday, regular as clockwork. The phone continued to ring. If he didn't answer it soon, his father, old Mr. Bird, would start the slow and ponderous shuffle down the stairs to answer the phone, as he had done for so many years when he ran the shop. His arthritic knees wouldn't thank him, and young Mr. Bird, or Bernie, as he was known to his father, would get a right earful from his old dad. Bernie looked across at his young assistant, a slight, puzzled expression creasing her forehead. "Lily, take over here for a moment, would you?" The slightly gormless but essentially good-natured young woman looked back down at the freshly made sandwiches she was preparing for the day ahead. "No, leave those, Lily. Just serve Mrs. Spriggs, will you? We can always finish those later." Lily was all right, but he would be glad when Fred came in later to help with the lunchtime rush. Mr. Bird moved swiftly out of the back door of the baker's into the hall and approached the dusty phone. It was stood on its own in the corner, on a worn wooden telephone table which had faded as the wallpaper behind it had. When it wasn't ringing, Mr. Bird often forgot the phone was there. It hadn't rung in months, possibly years. Bernie had lost track. Now, as he stood and looked at the phone, he couldn't for the life of him remember the last time it had rung. A noise on the stairs made him look up. "Are you going to answer that, Bernie?" asked the old man bad-temperedly. "Yes, Dad, go and sit back down. It's all right," he called back. Then Bernie Bird, the baker, picked up the phone. "Hello, Dad. I've rung to tell you I've got some news. Quite exciting news. I'm getting married. I thought you'd like to know." It is 1972, and Jean is 27 years old. She waits for a response. She considers that now is the time when her dad might have something to say. There is no reply. No sound. The receiver has been put down on the telephone table and left there. Jean will never know this. "He's really nice. He's called Derek and he's a teacher. Maths mostly. We thought you might like to come to the wedding. You'd be very welcome." Jean waits in anticipation. Then she becomes impatient. "For God's sake, Dad, you could reply." Jean sighs. "I've sent your invitation to your work address, the one that Mum gave me. It would be very nice to see you." Jean pauses, thinking how best to continue. "The thing is, Derek's dad is very nice, lovely really. He's agreed to give me away. But he knows I'd really like you to do it. I really would, Dad." Jean waits for a response, not really expecting to get one, but hoping. "Just think about it, okay? I'll try again nearer the time if I haven't heard from you. Please, Dad, just call me back. I miss you." Jean is about to put the phone down when she thinks of something else to say. "I love you, Dad," she says. The phone rang. A not annoying but insistent in its repetition, golden sound. After 5 or 6 rings, a harassed-looking middle-aged woman ran up, snatched the receiver and placed it none too gently down on the top of the telephone table. Mrs. Bird had been married to young Mr. Bird for 6 years. He was still called young Mr. Bird by some of the aged customers of Bird's family bakers, despite being nearly 50, and despite old Mr. Bird having passed away nearly 3 years previously. Mrs. Bird had a big order to complete for the following day, a wedding cake, and various pastries and cupcakes for the wedding breakfast, to be delivered to the town hall first thing in the morning. She had never understood the thing with the telephone, and she had no time to be bothered with it now. She whisked back through the door into the baker's and confronted the small army of young people hired for the occasion. Amy, when you finish sweeping, close up the shop and join us in the back. Lucy, if you could start on the icing for the cake, and Peggy and I will start on the cream horns. Mrs. Bird started back toward the kitchen. Then she paused for a moment. Oh, and absolutely no one is to touch the phone. Hiya, Dad. I know I haven't called in a little while, but I've been busy. It is 1985, and Jean is 40. She waits to see if anything is forthcoming from the other end. The Teddy Bear's Picnic plays in the background on a record player. The sound of children running round and giggling can be heard from the kitchen. Jean gets up and closes the door. The sound is muffled. Jenny turned 11 last week. She likes her new school, although she's not sure about all the homework. James is 8 now, and nearly as tall as me. Josh is 5, and he's just started school. He cries every time I leave him. I'm sure he'll get better in time. Jean wonders what else there is to say. She listens, hoping for someone to break the silence. Judy and Mum came to us for Jenny's birthday party. I sent you an invitation. Mum made the cake. It was all butterflies. Beautiful. They never talk about you anymore. Suddenly Jean becomes angry. It's not my fault. You could at least reply. I sent you tons of letters and you never write back. You could at least say something, Dad. Then Jean starts to cry.
All right, thank you very much to Ruth Perkins for that reading. We're going to have part 2 of that story next week as well, so be sure to come back for that. We're now going to have a little bit of music. We're going to have Seeds of Hope by Maz Manzini. So Maz is a great guy. He used to run a sort of Sunday jam at the Rose and Crown here in High Wycombe. He's been doing a lot of live streams during lockdown as well, so to sort of keep that live music scene going. And yeah, he has this new tune. I think it's actually, I think he wrote it last year, and this is his new recording of it. So let's check that out.
Train is coming over the hill, compelled down the rail track by our children's will, tracking through the Dust Bowl, coming down the line. The train is coming, but it takes time. The train is rattling down the dusty track, platform filling slowly, daylight fades to black, bridging over rivers, cutting through the woods. The train is coming as it should. Let them breathe, let them grow, these seeds of hope. Let them breathe, let them grow, these seeds of hope. These seeds of hope. Train is coming, kicking up the sand, to take all the children off to slumberland. Fresh lazy ray. It's time to go now, it can't stay. Let him breathe, let him grow. These seeds are full. Let him breathe, let him grow. These seeds are full. These seeds are full. Train is coming over the hill, down through New Mexico, it's coming still. Pulling an ETNO, lifting off the earth, steaming through the sky for all she's worth. Train is whistling, whistling through the clouds, treetop kissing, cargo's deep in sound. Wheeling round the hillside, landing on the tracks. Listen for the train, she's coming back. Let him breathe, let him grow. These seeds are full. Let him breathe, let him grow. These seeds are full. Let him breathe, let him grow. These seeds are full. Let him breathe, let him grow. These seeds are full. These seeds are full.
This is an appeal from Chiltern Music Therapy. We work with society's most isolated and vulnerable people. Since lockdown started, most of our patients have had to go without the vital therapy they normally rely on, making them even more vulnerable. Our non-for-profit organisation, now made up of over 50 music therapists, is working hard to create digital content so that we can once again reach out and give our patients back their lifeline. But in order to deliver this content, we need your help. Just £20 from you will help us pay for the technology we need to offer this service to a patient for 3 months. To make a donation, please visit chilternmusictherapy.co.uk. Thank you.
Are you affected by multiple sclerosis and finding self-isolation hard? The Chilterns MS Centre is here to support you. We will encourage and help you to keep active during self-isolation while supporting your emotional well-being too. We have moved to telephone and online support with virtual exercise classes and social groups. We can offer a friendly ear, advice or help to connect you to other local services. You can call at any time on 01296 696 133. Just leave a message and we will call you back. For more information and details of how to donate, visit our website, chilternsmscentre.org.
Local businesses. Perhaps you have closed temporarily or have found a new and innovative way of working. If you want to reach customers with your message, get in touch with us today.
That was Wait by Superlord, and before that we had Seeds of Hope by Maz Manzini. My name's Dane Cobain, you're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM at Wycombe Sound, and we're about to be joined by the boys from Superlord, so over to those guys.
So I thought a good place to start would be if you could each introduce yourselves and tell us what your roles are in the band.
Yeah, I guess I'll start. Aaron Brennan, guitar and vocals of Superlord, of course.
I'm Tom Humphrey. I play the bass for Superlord.
And I'm Mike. I play the drums.
Cool.
The funny story though is Aaron was pretty good in say, but the last time we got asked this question, I said I'm drums. So it's improved already.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. You get.
Sorry.
Getting more media friendly.
Yeah.
No, it's just that you know your name, mate. That's all it is. Your name's not drums. Your name's Mike.
So how did you guys all meet each other and start playing together?
I'll just say no. Well, we because it was me and Mike originally started the band. I think it was the tail end of 2018. I think when we met up with another bass player who originally did vocals. I think it was join our band, wasn't it? I think that you applied to an ad that I put out. Similar interests. That obviously didn't work out with that other fella, so I said I'll do vocals, and we went looking for another bass player, and I think we found Tom. Must have been kind of just after spring, wasn't it? 2019.
Yeah, it was about sort of July, August 2019.
Yeah. See, again, I have to say 2019 because it feels like I've lost the whole of 2020. Yeah. It kind of feels like last year, but it's not. So that's kind of we just got together. Tom kind of fitted in straight away. We had some tunes wrote. Me and Mike kind of jammed out. We played a couple of two-piece shows and thought, no, we need to beef this up. And went ahead and found Tom in 2019 and kind of kept the ball rolling from there, really.
Cool. And so when you guys started as well, so you mentioned like you had, I guess, like sort of musical influences in common as well. So what are some of the influences that all three of you all listen to?
It's a mixed bag, really, isn't it? Like we're all into I guess heavy stoner is probably what brings us all together, I guess, more so. I know, Tom, you like a bit more extreme metal, don't you? Like
not the band extreme. although you might.
Well, that too, Yeah. No, I mean, like for me, it's like the kind of stoner influences are obviously like Black Sabbath and Geezer Butler and that kind of classic sort of psychedelic stuff, but also people like Cliff Burton and sort of Steve Harris and all these kind of classic heavy metal bass players and all that kind of stuff is the big influence for me.
Yeah, and you want to get your groove on with us, didn't you? Take it down a notch.
Yeah, and like in terms of one of the things I think is quite interesting is your lyrics, especially with like Superlord versus Gargantuan. It's like I find it quite like an interesting little song. How do you write your lyrics? I guess this is a question for you, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, it was just me, Mike, and another vocalist / bass player who was originally in the band, and when we kind of struggled to find someone else, I thought I'm just going to do it myself, So I just kind of had the kind of music wrote already, or written, is probably the better word. And I don't know, it kind of just fell out. I just kind of went with it because I couldn't even sing for the life of me. I had to start from scratch, and I just thought, just see what comes out. And I had the name of the band Superlord, and I think I heard Gargantuan somewhere. I thought, what a great kind of rivalry between like this Superlord and this Gargantuan kind of comic book style, and it just kind of fell out, and that's kind of how all the lyrics really fell out, really, without not thinking too hard. And I think sometimes that's probably the best way. Is what's kind of worked for me, So it's been pretty easy on that front.
Cool. And what does, I guess, the songwriting process as a whole look like? Like how do you start out? Do you start out with music, just like jamming together, or do you sort of bring little riffs together? How do you go about sort of penning something new?
Well, we again, me and Mike, when we got rid of the other guy, or he decided to leave rather, we were kind of jamming out a few riffs, and I would go back and I would like reprogram the guitars in, and I'd program some basic drums and send them over to Mike, and then he would completely change them in the rehearsal room, which was great. That's exactly what I wanted to do. And Mike would just kind of run with it, and so Tom didn't really kind of feature in the songwriting process, but he is at the moment in the newer stuff. But it was kind of that where I would just kind of take them home, send them over to Mike, and then we would kind of work on them. But at the moment, the way the new stuff's kind of going, we're kind of all doing it together really in the rehearsal rooms, so it's variable really. I mean, obviously at the moment with the lockdown, we're going to have to kind of write at home and kind of share ideas that way. But that's generally it,
I mean, have you guys have you been able to practice together at all during the pandemic?
We had a few, didn't we? A few sessions.
Yeah, like back in probably about, what would it have been, August, September, kind of late summer, when things started to kind of, when things sort of started to open up again. We got in a few little sort of practice sessions, really just kind of, well, that was when we managed to get the last little bit of recording done for the EP.
That was it, yeah.
And just kind of also working on some new stuff, like you say, just kind of jamming out and coming up with a few new kind of ideas and little kind of the beginnings of some sort of new material there. So we did get a little bit done, but the whole kind of multiple lockdowns and sort of the flip-flopping between being able to jam and not being able to jam has kind of thrown a massive spanner in the works, obviously. But like Aaron said, it's just about kind of trying to keep up practice at home and trying to keep up with the flow of it,
Yeah, I think the main thing, that, like as you said, Tom, there, like we managed to get in and get those practices in and finish off the EP because we stalled for so long from March. I think we'd done the drums.
It was all nice, wasn't it? After that, pretty much.
Yeah, and it was all kind of in an hour, and we had a few meltdowns, but we'll say no more. But we managed to get in, like you said, we had a few practices and we jammed the songs out again, and they were sounding huge, and so we got those done, which was great. And as you said, we worked on a few new riffs, didn't we? And you've sent them over to me, so the beginnings are there for us all.
So there was your EP. So you finished that off this year, last year, I guess, 2020, right?
Well, we got it out, just in time for the new year. I think it come out on, was it the 11th or the 16th of December? I think
11th.
Yeah. So we managed to get it out. We squeezed it out, which is great for us. It's just kind of put to bed. We know that it's done and we can move on. Well, in whatever way we can with the lockdowns and that. But So yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess that leaves you now. So, and you mentioned you've been working on new songs. Is the goal to work towards like an album?
Yeah, I'll let you take this one, Mike, if you want, mate.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's because it's been such a strange year for everyone. The goal was obviously just get the EP finished, really. But that's definitely, I think, the next step once we can, get back in the studio. But using this time again to try and bounce ideas off each other. So we sort of can stay active if even again, if my practice kit this doesn't really work.
Again,
we'll make it work.
The EP's been far more. So I don't know about you guys. I mean, we haven't even been able to have a beer over it. I'm absolutely blown away by the reception of it.
Massively, man.
On for a scale of our size, a little band from kind of Hertfordshire, and it's been overwhelming in a way, fantastic. So it's kind of, a lot of people said in a few reviews, what we won't really see the full Superlord until we do an album. So that is definitely our driving force, I think. And I think we're all itching to get back in and to kind of work on these new ideas and hopefully get something out.
I mean, especially with this kind of being like a sort of self-produced thing. Aaron doing all the production and everything else, and it all being recorded in this tiny little practice room and sort of all on a shoestring budget. It'd be nice to kind of get a more quote unquote professional album done. Not necessarily saying but something where, we've got, that extra oomph behind it, that extra kind of sort of boost.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, mate, I joked there about, the no offense, but I mean, just to take that pressure off as well, because it is,
exactly.
you kind of sit and you get tired of the songs. You kind of, these are our songs, they kind of grate on you after a while,
Yeah, you almost
you're right.
That kind of outside voice, don't you?
That's it. And just to kind of go in,
it
would be nice for all of us to go in and do it together. I think, you know what I mean?
Sure,
just like have a few beers, kick back, rather than do it in bits again. But again, depending on the circumstances of COVID, but definitely.
Yeah, that's it.
My name's Dane Cobain. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wycombe Sound. I'm here in conversation with Superlord, and this is their track, Desert Ruins. That was Desert Ruins by Superlord. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM at Wycombe Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain, and I'm here with the boys from the band, with Superlord.
I mean, and you mentioned like obviously you haven't been able to meet up over a beer for it.
No.
Obviously you haven't been able to go on a tour or anything like that as well, or to play any shows to promote it. And I wanted to ask about live shows. Like, are there any venues in particular that you guys have played that you know that really stand out to you, or any that you really, really want to play once the pandemic's over?
Oh.
We played a few at the Underdog in Bermondsey. We know the guy quite well. He's called Sammy. He's always puts us on. But how about you guys? Where do you want to play?
Well, I mean, for me personally, I mean, we spoke about it's one of our kind of things that we kind of hyped up together back when we kind of first met and shared our ideas, and that was, to kind of get on a bill for someone like Desert Fest, something like that, which is like a festival in Camden. That would be our kind of goal on any time slot, even open up the show in one of the smaller venues, but like the Underworld, the Black Cart would be fantastic just to kind of get out there. But the fantastical reception of the EP, people say, "Oh, you're doing Bloodstock, or you're doing this and that." So anything like that would be an absolute dream for us, really.
Massively.
But there have been, we played the Horn a few times as well in St Albans. They're really good with us up there. We've had a few good nights. But as you say, the Underdog Galleries has been really good. But I mean, that's personally for me, it's kind of Desert Fest really at the moment, and
No, definitely. We were lucky enough to play 2 gigs this year, weren't we? Back in January.
2 gigs. Ooh,
managed to squeeze them in.
Can't remember the days.
For the whole 2 gigs in 2020.
But 4 times, yeah.
Did we actually play in 2020? I don't even remember.
We did.
Yeah, we did back in Jan. Yeah.
Really? Where did we play in Jan?
That was when we played the Underdog.
Yeah.
God, it was freezing. I remember that. That's when I wasn't driving. Yeah, I had to carry my gear on the tube. Yeah. Horrible.
Another lifetime away.
Yeah. No, it really is. It really is.
So in terms of you guys, like, I think one of the things that's quite cool about you is you have like quite a full sound, especially just having the 3 of you. Like what hardware and stuff do you need to do to achieve that? Like, what guitar gear have you got? And
well, I mean, first off, I'll say this now: it's all lies. It's all post production, as you all know, being in media. It's all beefed up. But no, again, when we started, I kind of reinvested in a half decent guitar amp just to kind of fatten up the sound. It's still not as big as I'd like it, but obviously being a trio or a 3-piece. You can only do so much on stage. So I mean, I've kind of to thicken up the sound for my guitar, I would kind of use loopers, and then I can do my solos over while the main kind of rhythm is looping. Delays, things like that, especially on vocals. Again, trying to sing and all that, and just trying to create our sound.
And speaking of your sound, like, what are some ways that you'd like to develop that in the future? Are there any specific ways? I mean, I know Tom said it'd be good to work with, say, a producer that might have some experience in the genre and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I'm using like a Jet City rig at the moment. I'd like to double it up and go full stereo. But in terms of kind of full production for the next kind of album, I've been a sound engineer. Sorry, boys, I have to put this in there. I know you have to. I say it to everyone, sound engineer for nearly 20 years. But so I know a few guys who are kind of in this kind of field, and that'll be the kind of next port of call, really, to contact them, get some studio rates. They'll kind of know what kind of sound we want to go for. And I think that'll be, we haven't really had a chance to discuss it, however, really. Again, it's been so hectic, but I think that's the kind of thing that we'd be looking at.
But what have you guys got planned next? And also, where can people follow you to find out more?
Go on, Mikey. This is on you, buddy.
Yeah, well, I guess once we can get back to it is getting that album done, because we've got quite a few songs on ice, so to speak. I think when we can play gigs again, we want to play as many as possible. Going to the festival circuit would be, it looks far away, but that's the goal, really. I think our socials are is it Superlord Band for Instagram? They're all Superlord Band, and we've got a website Tom's designed. I'll pass you over.
Yeah, superlordband.co.uk.
No, I thought it was .com.
Oh, is it? Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think it was.
God. So it's superlordband.com.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can find out all of the sort of information there. It's got links to all the socials and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. As you said,
Spotify, Bandcamp, and all that kind of stuff. And hopefully, when we actually get back to playing live gigs, we'll have a list of upcoming, dates and all that kind of stuff on there as well. So
yeah, like you said, that's the kind of next goal, really, isn't it? We really, I mean, personally, I'm itching to get out and play live again, even if we just play the older songs. But that's the thing; it's just going to be working towards the new album. It's going to be for ourselves, really. But the reception of the EP has been so fantastic that the fans want it, man.
Yeah, genuinely blown away.
You gotta give them what they want.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Again, as you said, Tom, generally blown away. But yeah, looking forward to playing live again, and even just rehearsing. For God's sake, just having like a beer and kicking back and just playing with you guys.
Yeah.
During the COVID-19 pandemic, our key workers will have experienced loss, trauma, mental strain, emotional difficulties, and many more factors which they will need time to recover from. Follyfoot Horses provide therapeutic sessions and a non-judgmental and natural approach to interventions using animal-assisted therapy. Follyfoot Horses would like to offer these therapeutic sessions to our local NHS and key workers for free after the COVID-19 lockdown is lifted, as we feel they will be most in need of some time to heal. But due to the lockdown closures, we have lost all of our income, and we need your support to raise the funds we need to continue our work. All donations will be gratefully received. For more information about our services and to donate to our fund, please visit our website follyfoothorses.org. Thank you.
All your business questions answered. HW Bidco will be hosting a series of webinars for local businesses. Join our panel of legal, HR and finance experts who are giving away their advice for free to help businesses navigate the COVID-19 challenges ahead. For more information and to register, visit the website hwbidco.co.uk.
We understand that everyday life is going to become challenging over the next few weeks and months, but we want to reassure you that the Wycombe Sound team are here to inspire and entertain you with local, relevant programmes and information.
We followed government advice and set our team up to work remotely. We have taken all the steps we can to keep our team safe so we can be here for you.
Local businesses. Perhaps you have closed temporarily or have found a new and innovative way of working. If you want to reach customers with your message, get in touch with us today.
We can get through this if we all pull together. Please stay at home, stay tuned to Wycombe Sound for the latest information, and do get in touch with us to let us know how you're doing, if you'd like a song played, or just want us to say hello to you.
Carter climbed the pylons almost every day to see the world from way up high. He liked it much better that way. Life in the clouds seemed so much sweeter than the one he lived on the ground. Never more so than when holidays ended and school days came back around. Unremarkable, almost invisible, no one knew he was there, till he legged it to freedom at the 4 o'clock bell, with the wind in his hair. Carter climbed the pylons, he drove the grown-ups half mad, misrepresented and misunderstood, not a devil, just a lad. His parents spoke to the doctors, his teachers and policemen too, and the label they gave him was spirited. There wasn't much more they could do. Swift of foot and sure of grip, he bypassed the skirts of barbed wire. He stuck up 2 fingers to gravity, climbed higher and higher and higher. Carter climbed the pylons, he did not give a damn. 'cause Carter had his reasons. Carter had a plan. He pored over his textbooks, made A's and occasional B's, became head boy in no time at all. His folks breathed a sigh of relief. Carter followed a simple plan with determination and will. A beacon of hope in his future was the dream he was following still. Carter climbs the pylons in harness and fluorescent vest, driving away the darkness. He's one of the lucky board's best. Carter climbs the pylons in harness and fluorescent vest, driving away the darkness. He's one of the lucky board's best.
Alright, that was Carter Climbed the Pylons by Will Riding, and I want to share with you, Will has sent a little bio that I can read out to you guys, just to give you a bit more of a feel for what he's all about as well. Alright, so, Lancashire-born Will Riding, now based in Chichester, is an acoustic guitarist and songwriter. His honest and occasionally playful songs reflect the common experiences we all share from childhood onwards. He started writing his own songs to go with the folk standards he'd sing in and around Chester. Encouraged by the reception they received, he continues to write and is getting them out to a wider audience. He has supported the late Julie Felix, Harp and a Monkey, Emma Stevens and Mark Radcliffe's Galleon Blast, as well as playing several singer-songwriting showcases for Pete Morton. Music can be found on the usual streaming sites and on his Bandcamp page. Anyway, it's now time for us to head over to the Ilk Shed, so we're going to be joined by Twangling Jack Ford with his weekly album review. Over to Twangling Jack.
David Bowie, the man who sold the world. Now, considering it wasn't long after he'd had a big hit with Space Oddity that he released this album, it did surprisingly badly. And people suspect one of the reasons might be that the cover has him wearing a dress on it. Another is that musically, I find it very interesting. It's quite a bit proggy. It's got lots of twiddly bits and songs about being a lunatic and all this kind of stuff. It's a bit bluesy in places. It's got some fantastic Mick Ronson distorted guitar on it, and of course it's got the title track, which was not a hit for Bowie, it was a hit for Lulu. But this is probably one of my favourite Bowie albums, The Man Who Sold the World.
Thank you very much to Twangling Jack Ford for this week's album review. Thank you to Superlord, who've been this week's guests. My name is Dane Cobain. You've been listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wycombe Sound. As always, you can find us on Catch Up. You can find us on my YouTube at youtube.com/Dane Cobain. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify. We have a Buzzsprout site as well. Give it a Google, you'll be able to find us. We're also on Facebook, and you can email me here at the studio if you want to on dane.cobain@wycombesound.org.uk. We're going to end with one last tune here. This is by Frank Birtwhistle, and he has also provided us with a little bio, so I'm going to share that with you guys now. Originally from Lancashire, Frank Birtwhistle has lived in Sheffield since the early 1990s and has played the guitar on and off since the age of 12. Over the years, a love of fingerstyle guitar ranging from classical, flamenco and folk, plus a general love of great songwriting from artists such as Kate Bush, Clannad and Nick Drake, to name but a few, he has slowly developed his own sound. After a recent 10+ year hiatus, the playing started all over again after hearing Lucy Rose's Shiver just over 6 years ago, and inevitably the writing shortly followed a year or so later. Since then, a large collection of 100+ new compositions and song ideas have emerged, some of which have been compiled onto 4 extended instrumental EPs and are being performed live, and some others are being worked on in partnership with Sally Doherty, a Sheffield-based singer, as a duo act called Summer Isle. Inspired by life, love and nature, the acoustic-based music has a very pastoral and poetic feel and sits somewhere between folk and alternative folk. The vast majority of the music released so far has been curated into the British Library Sound Archive, where it will hopefully live for many generations to come. So this is Reflections by Frank Birtwhistle. I'll see you next week.
This is Wycombe Sound.